What's going on, everybody? This is Joe.
And Amy.
And we are back with some more Arena Cube Sealed. We did one previous to this, and we really enjoyed ourselves. I won't spoil it for you, but you should definitely go watch. It's one of the... It was a very good deck. Probably one of the best that we've played with on this channel, I would venture to say.
Probably.
I mean, it's cube, so that makes a bit of sense, but I mean, even within the cube, I think it was one of the best.
Like against our opponents.
Yeah.
It was still a really great deck. It wasn't comparable. It was just better. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we lost. There was a loss or two, but still, like, our deck was great.
We lost once.
We lost twice.
We did?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it didn't feel like this.
Fair. So yeah, let's see how we do this time around. I'm hopeful. I'm sure we're not going to get one as good as we got last time,
right.
But I'm still very hopeful. So let's check out what we get.
Yeah.
Because I know it takes it a minute to sort these cards. Okay. So yeah, not as much white as last time.
No.
Wow. Literally 5 blue cards.
Oh. Jeez.
Because we have the Lonely Sandbar, which doesn't count because that's a land. And then it goes down to Baron Moor down here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blue cards in general. That's it.
Are any of them even good? Not that it matters.
No.
Because we're not playing it, obviously.
No. There's one that's a rare, and that's it. In white, we have no mythics on this whole page.
Oh, jeez.
Like, Leonin Warleader is incredible. The Archon's great. Prison Realm's great. Legion's Landing is great. Our Johnny's Pride Mate's great. So our white's still pretty good.
Okay. The Tribunal's there. We had that.
Oh, yeah. Good point. Yeah, and the Tribunal does damn good work.
Yeah.
Aerosaur's fine. When it enters, another creature you control gets +1/+1 and flying until end of turn. It's a great card.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what else we've got. Because our white's fine. I would be totally okay with white. Our blue is garbage. I don't want anything to do with it. Like, this is our best blue card by a lot. And yeah, I'd rather be doing better things than drawing some extra cards later in the game. Although this, as I said, is a very good card. Duress is not, I don't know. I mean, maybe in cube it's something that I'd be okay with doing. But otherwise, it's not extremely exciting to me, to be honest. Okay, I see 2 mythics on this page. So that's good. That's better. We've got the Spawn of Mayhem, which we love.
Yeah.
2 black for a 4/4 demon with flying and trample, also known as flample.
Right.
At the beginning of your upkeep, Spawn of Mayhem deals 1 damage to each player. And then if you have 10 or less life, you put a +1/+1 counter on him. And he does have a spectacle cost of 1 black, where if an opponent has taken damage this turn, or lost life this turn, excuse me, you can play it for 3 instead. Okay. This Rotting Regisar, yep, 3 mana 7/6, also very good. We have the Embodiment of Agony's rare, 1 black for a star, flying Death Touch.
I have never seen this card.
This is a weird one, I won't lie to you. It enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each different mana cost among non-land cards in your graveyard. So, weird. For example, 2 and a black and 1 black are different mana costs.
Yeah, that's weird.
Even though it's a CMC of 3. Very weird. The Eternal Taskmaster is 1 and a black for a 2/3 that enters tapped, and when it attacks, you may pay 3. If you do, you return a creature from your graveyard to your hand.
Okay.
It's pretty good. Oathsworn Knight, if I recall, is good from Throne of Eldraine. 1 black for a star, enters with 4 +1/+1 counters on it, and it attacks each combat if able, and if damage would be dealt to it while it has a counter on it, prevent that damage and remove a counter.
Oh.
Plaguecrafter is fine. When it enters, each player sacks a creature or planeswalker, and each player who can't discards a card. It's a 3 mana 3/2. Bolus's Citadel is 3 black. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play the top card of your library. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to its converted mana cost rather than paying its actual mana cost.
Wow.
And then you can tap it, sack 10 non-land permanents.
Jesus.
And each opponent loses 10 life.
Oh. I guess that makes sense. Fine.
Oh, that's why. Yeah. Sorry. But you will, notably, you will need 6 mana, 3 of which is black.
Yeah.
So it's not super easy to play, I won't lie to you. Let's skip red. Red seems okay. Like Rekindling Phoenix is here.
Yeah.
I just want to see what else we've got. I'm a little greedy and I want to skip ahead. Well, we've
sure.
got a lot of green.
Sarkin is there.
Sarkin is here. So is Jaya's Immolating Inferno. But yeah, Sarkin is here from War of the Spark. 3 red for a Sarkin Planeswalker that starts at 5 loyalty. -3, you get to make one of these 4/4 flying dragon tokens. So you can do that as soon as you play him, and he still has 2 loyalty on him. Okay. It says, whenever a creature attacks you or a Planeswalker you control, each dragon you control deals 1 damage to that creature.
Nice.
The +1, until end of turn, each Planeswalker you control, that includes himself, becomes a 4/4 red dragon creature and gains flying.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
It is pretty cool. Our green looks okay, I'll say. We have Vivian.
Yeah.
She's a mythic Planeswalker from M20. Plus, Tendershoot Dryad is incredible. We had an opponent play it against us at too late of a point for them in the last draft, or in the last event that we played, but the card is incredible. 4 and a green for a 2/2, which doesn't seem that impressive. It does have Ascend, which means that if you have 10 or more permanents, you get the City's Blessing for the rest of the game automatically. So if you have the City's Blessing, something else will happen. But first, let's see. At the beginning of each upkeep, that's yours and your opponent's, you create a 1/1 green Saproling, so one of these.
Yeah.
And then while Tendershoot Dryad is on the field, if you have the City's Blessing, by the way, these Saprolings that you make count towards your permanent count, and you're making 1 every turn, yours and your opponent's. Jeez. Saprolings you control get +2/+2 as long as you have the City's Blessing.
Wow.
So as long as you have the City's Blessing and this Tendershoot Dryad out, you're making a 3/3 every turn. So this card is incredible.
Pretty nuts.
It's just that, as I said, our opponent, when they played it, it was not a good time for them to have tried to do that. I guess we can look at some of our gold. Like, we've got Biogenic Ooze, we've got Vivian.
I love Biogenic Ooze.
Yes, it's a very good card.
It's my flubber.
So we've got like, our green seems great and our white seemed really good. Our red seems good too.
Growth is a good one.
It's fine. I'm looking more at the rares and mythics. But yes, Giant Growth is a fine combat trick. You're absolutely right. Either when attacking or when blocking. Like, if something gets through and you Giant Growth it for an extra 3, you could really get in. You could kill somebody that way. Or you can save one of your creatures, kill one of theirs. Like, it's a very good utility card. I won't disagree with you there. Let's look at our dual colored things.
I really thought there'd be more green there once you turned the page, but I guess not.
No, because there's a time wipe at the bottom here, so I knew we were done with green. Yeah,
I didn't notice that.
That's all right. So yeah, stuff that has blue in it, probably not great, because our blue is awful, as we learned. So Lazav, even though we have Lazav, not as good for us here because it's blue.
And we have
the Titan.
Uro, whatever it is.
Titan of Nature's Wrath, which is a great card, but you do, to escape it, need double green, double blue.
Does he have a face?
I think so. I think this is an eye here. Oh. I think. And this is a nose.
Is this thing a mouth?
Yeah, I think so. This little anus-looking thing there, yeah.
Because it looks like there's like a mini face on that.
Yeah.
And a mustache.
I don't think so, but I see what you're saying. Yeah, so unfortunately, Uro's probably not good enough. I don't think Kiora's that great of a Planeswalker, but to be fair, if we're playing green, it might work out. 2 and a green, because we're not going to use her for her blue. Right. Whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, you draw a card.
That's nice.
It is nice. And for -1, you can untap a permanent, and she has 7 loyalty to start for 3 mana. So if we have enough big creatures in green, that's probably what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Domri is here.
Okay.
So Domri is 1 red-green for a rare Planeswalker from War of the Spark for 3 loyalty. Creatures you control get +1/+0. You can +1 add red or green. Creature spells you cast this turn can't be countered.
Okay.
And then -2, target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. So it's a fight mechanic. It's not bad.
Ooh, there's also Veraska.
There is Veraska. Our black was okay. We don't have any Selesnya. We have Temple Garden.
Yeah.
But we don't have any cards that are these two colors. I think we have another page here as well. But yeah, Vraska is 2 black-green for 4 loyalty, planeswalker from guilds, I believe that is. You may sack another permanent for +2. If you do, you gain 1 life and draw a card, which is okay. You're still sacking things. -3, destroy target non-land permanent with converted mana cost 3 or less. So you could do that as soon as you play her if you wanted to. She'd be at 1 loyalty, which would suck, but you would be basically getting their strongest thing, presumably, off the field at that point. And -9, you get an emblem with whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game.
Whoa. What?
Yep. That's why it's a -9, though. 4 + 2 is 6 on her first turn, 8 on her second turn, 10 on her third turn, and then -9. But that means she has to take no damage. Like, you're probably well ahead at that point anyway. So, yeah, you don't necessarily need that emblem, but it is a thing. So it's possible that we could go... Oh, man. Our white feels really good, but then do we go white, black, green? Because we do have 2 very good white-black cards. We have D-Spark, which is white-black for an instant. Exile target permanent with converted mana cost 4 or greater.
Nice.
Very, very good. And Ethereal Absolution is 4 white-black for an enchantment at rare. Creatures you control get +1/+1 automatically. Creatures your opponents control get -1/-1 automatically. So if our opponent plays anything with 1 toughness or less, it dies immediately.
Wow.
Or if anything on the field of theirs has 1 toughness or less, it's dead automatically.
Cool.
As soon as we play this. And 2 white-black, exile target card, any card from an opponent's graveyard. So escape exists in this cube. So we could exile something from their graveyard. If it was a creature, you create a 1/1 white and black spirit creature token with flying, which, as we know, while this Ethereal Absolution is on the field, it would be a 2/2 flying spirit.
Well, yeah, because if it stayed a 1/1, it would just die.
No, that's only if it's our opponents. Even though it's their thing. Like, you're eating their thing out of the graveyard, and yet you're the one getting the creature. Let's take a look at our artifacts. That's where some of our mythics went. So we have the Weatherlight. Oh. It is 4 mana for a legendary artifact vehicle at Mythic from Dominaria. When it is crewed, the crew cost is 3. But yes, exactly. But when it is crewed, it is a 4/5 flying creature. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, we look at the top 5 cards of our library. We may reveal a historic card from among them and put it into our hand, and the rest go on the bottom in a random order. So it's not amazing, but it's not bad. We've got the Immortal Sun. Ooh. 6 mana for a legendary artifact at Mythic. Players can't activate Planeswalker's loyalty abilities. At the beginning of your draw step, draw an additional card. Spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. At the beginning of every one of our draw steps, we draw an additional card.
Christ.
All of our spells cost 1 generic less to cast. And all our creatures get +1/+1.
Jesus.
Yes, the Immortal Sun's very good.
It costs 6.
It is 6 mana.
I was like, what the hell is the downside to this thing?
It's 6 mana. Stonecoil Serpent is also incredible. X mana for a 0/0. Reach, Trample, Protection from Multicolored.
Oh.
And it enters with X +1/+1 counters on it, which is why it costs X. So you could play this on turn 2 as a 2/2, but it's a 2/2 Reach, Trample, Pro Multicolored. Or you could wait until turn 10 and then have a 10. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So our artifacts are actually pretty good. Heraldic Banner, when it enters the battlefield, choose a color. Creatures we control of the chosen color get +1/+0, and then we can tap this and add 1 mana of the chosen color.
Okay, nice. And that might be helpful if we are, in fact, 3 colors.
Right, which I think we're gonna be. I just don't know whether we want to go red, green, and a third color, maybe black, or whether we want to go white, green, black. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm leaning towards here, is either red, green, black, or white, green, black. And I'm not sure.
Well, let's look at the red cards again.
Yes, that's fair.
We really didn't have any red.
We kind of skipped it, right? So there's the Forgotten Cave, which is just, it's a cycling land for red. I don't think we would use it necessarily. Crash Through, we give our creatures trample until end of turn and draw a card. I don't love that. Yeah. Anax is fine, but he cares about our devotion to red to have power. But he does say whenever Anax or another non-token creature we control dies, we get a 1/1 satyr that can't block. If the creature that died had power 4 or greater, we make 2 of them. I don't love Anax here, especially because he's double red. Fight with Fire is 2 and a red, but we could pay the kicker of 6 mana.
Jeez.
So it's either 3 mana or 9 mana. If we pay the 3, this deals 5 damage to a creature. If we pay the 9, it deals 10 damage, divided as we choose among any number of targets.
Jeez, that's really good.
It's very good. It's 9 mana, though.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel like there's very few times where I wouldn't play this and just deal 10 damage to our opponent.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we're kicking it.
Yeah.
Like, it's divided among any number of targets,
they're
but...
at, 10 or less life,
Right.
and then just play this.
Right. The only other way that I would do this is if, for whatever reason, that 10 damage killed every creature on their field, then I might do it.
Yeah.
The Phoenix of Ash is 1 red for a 2/2 flying haste. You can tap 3 to give it +2/+0 until end of turn, and you can escape it for 2 red, exile 3 other cards, and it escapes as a 3/3 with flying and haste.
That's kind of good.
It's not bad. Slaying Fire is 3 mana for an instant, 3 damage to any target. If at least 3 red mana was spent to cast it, 4 damage instead to any target. Squee the Immortal is 1 red. Like, all of our stuff is double red.
I love him.
He's pretty cool. He's a 2/1, and you may cast him from your graveyard or from exile.
He's got a cool earring.
He's got a cool earring. That's fair, I guess. There's the Rekindling Phoenix. We had this last time as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great card when you can get it out, right? Nothing wrong with that. The Akron War is fine. Gain control of target creature for as long as it remains on the battlefield for Chapter 1. Chapter 2, until your next turn, creatures your opponents control attack each combat if able. And Chapter 3, each tapped creature deals damage to itself equal to its power. Not bad at all. Then we have Sarkin, as we learned.
Yeah.
We have Electro Dominance, X red for an instant. It deals X damage to any target. You may cast a card with converted mana cost X or less from your hand without paying its mana cost.
Oh.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then Jaya's Immolating Inferno is X red for a legendary sorcery. It deals X damage to each of up to 3 targets. But since it is a legendary sorcery, you can cast a legendary sorcery only if you control a legendary creature or a planeswalker.
Oh.
And if you don't have those, you cannot cast this card.
That's dumb.
Yes, but it's a lot of double red. Like a lot of double red. There's double red here, 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 here. Why didn't it? There we go. Here. It's a lot of double red.
Yeah.
I like our black a lot. I think our black is very good. Yes.
Okay, so let's do white-black.
Well, no, and our green is great as well. Oh. That's why I'm saying we could try to do all 3.
Because I'm not convinced that this red is even decent.
Yeah, that's fair. No, that's fair. But if we do white, green, black, we would have this dual land for green, black. We would have this dual land for white, green.
Okay. Baraska.
Well, yeah, but I'm sorry. I was just looking at lands first. Yes, you're right.
Sulfuric Void.
Zalfirin Void?
Oh.
Did you say sulfuric? It's fine.
Sulfuric.
Oh, okay.
I
Sorry.
Can't really
no, you're close. You were close. I thought you said sulfuric, and I was like, that's way off. But yes, Zalfiric is very close. We have.
I could see the Z.
Fair. We have Traveler's Amulet as well, which could let us go look for a color if we're missing it. We still have Heraldic Banner, so we could add a color that way. Chromatic Lantern, I don't know. We're 3 colors, but we're not 5 colors. But Chromatic Lantern is 3 mana for an artifact. Lands you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. Okay. So this gives all of our lands that ability to make any color. And we could tap this to add 1 mana of any color as well.
Okay.
And then... yeah, I think we have some good artifacts too.
What's this card?
Which one?
The Voltaic Servant.
Voltaic Servant was good in Dominaria with one other card that we don't have, but it's 2 mana for a 1/3, and at the beginning of your end step, untap target artifact.
Oh. Lame.
So, well, it's lame except that there's a There was a card in Dominaria, I forget its name now, but there was a big artifact creature for very cheap. And its downside was it didn't untap during your untap step.
Oh, okay.
But then you would put
that's why
Voltaic
this
Servants
card is
in.
good.
Yeah, exactly. And it would just be able to untap your... I think it was like a 7/6 creatures. It was
Okay, so
huge.
it's not that this card is good. It's just that this card fixes a card that's good.
Correct. Okay. And there's Arcane Encyclopedia too. 3 mana, tap it, draw a card, but we're going to be doing other things, I feel like. So Ginger Brute. Let's do...
it.
All right. Well, let's do Stonecoil Serpent and the Immortal Sun. Do you really want Ginger Brute?
I don't know if he's good. I just like him.
I mean, he's a 1 mana 1/1 with haste, but I think we could do better things. I think if we need stuff, we'll come back to Ginger Brute.
Look how cute he is.
Oh my god. Okay. Okay, so now we can look at other things to add in. So you're talking about Veraska.
Yeah.
We're doing
Definitely.
Ethereal Absolution and Despark. No, we're not doing red. We're doing green, black, white. So that's it for this page. Now we go back here. Tendershoot Dryad definitely goes in.
Okay.
The Biogenic Ooze definitely goes in.
Yeah.
So it's 5 mana for a 2/2. But when it enters, you make a 2/2 Ooze, which we saw right there. At the beginning of our end step, we put a +1/+1 counter on each Ooze we control. And then for 4, 1 green, 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 we make a 2/2 Ooze. So, yes, very good. Wilderness Reclamation, we'll have to see how many instants and sorceries we have, or abilities. Like, I mean, the ability on the Biogenic Ooze is pretty good for that. Plus Ethereal Absolution we can use as well. Despark is an instant. But Wilderness Reclamation is 3 and a green for an enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, untap all lands you control.
Okay.
So that's very good. We have Vivian, 1 green, green, green for a legendary Planeswalker. Vivian, we didn't read what she does, but she's 4 loyalty to start, +1. Distribute 2 +1/+1 counters among up to 2 target creatures. They gain trample until end of turn.
Okay.
-3, which you can do as soon as you play her. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker. So it's not a fight. It's like a bite, essentially. And then -5, which you would have to at least have her for 1 turn before you could use. You may choose a creature card you own from outside the game, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So technically, that will be any creature from this whole pool that we're looking at right now would count for her -5.
Outside the game.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah, so it's your sideboard.
It's like unstable.
Yeah. Well, there are cards known as like wishes that let you do that. Okay. And so what people will do in like tabletop Magic play is they just will go to their collection and just pick whatever card they want.
Yeah.
In like tournaments and stuff, what it means is basically your
From
sideboard.
your pool?
Your sideboard, yeah. Well, no, I mean even your constructed decks,
okay.
right? Like if you have a card like this in a constructed deck in like standard or whatever, you would only be able to get something out of your sideboard.
Yeah,
you can't just like have your trade binder next to you and like, well, what would work in this scenario? You know, like,
let's put the Black Lotus in.
So I think Vivian goes in. Once in future is 3 and a green for an instant. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Put up to 1 other target card from your graveyard on top of your library, and then exile once in future. But if you used at least 3 green mana to play it, instead return both of those cards to our hand and exile once in future. I don't think that's good enough.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't remember that being super great for us when we attempted to use it.
Right. I will say...
back when that set was new.
Right. I will say Beast Whisperer is very good. Okay. 2 green green for a 2/3 elf druid. Whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah, it's very good. Reclamation Sage we probably put in, because as we saw with that red creature that we had in our last draft, destroying artifacts is definitely relevant.
Yeah.
And this says, when it enters the battlefield, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment.
Okay.
Now, it's a 3 mana 2/1, but that destroying an artifact or an enchantment is very important.
Yeah.
So we'll take that. Jade Light Ranger is 1 green green for a 2/1. When it enters, it explores. Do you remember what explore is?
No.
So explore...
You scry or something?
Close. You reveal the top card of your library, so your opponent gets to see it as well, but you put it into your hand if it's a land, but if it's not a land, you put a +1/+1 counter on the creature that explored, and then you can put the card back on top of your library or into your graveyard. It's your choice.
Interesting.
So if it's a land, it goes into your hand and the creature does not get a counter. But if it's not a land, you get to choose whether it stays on top or goes to the graveyard, and either way, your creature gets a counter. But this Jade Light Ranger says when it enters the battlefield, it explores, and then it explores again.
Jesus, that's
Yes.
really good.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that goes in.
Put that in.
Warbriar Blessing is 1 and a green for an enchant creature, enchantment aura. When it enters the battlefield, enchanted creature fights up to one target creature we don't control.
Okay.
And our enchanted creature gets permanent +0/+2.
Okay.
Which seems fine, but we may come back to that. We've got...
Oh, and that's not even a creature that is a thing. That's an aura. Okay.
Yeah, this is an enchantment aura. Vivian's Arcbow is a legendary artifact for 1 and a green. X mana, tap it, discard a card. Look at the top X cards of your library. You may put a creature card with converted mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield.
Whoa.
And put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order.
Okay.
We'll try that. Untamed Kavu is 1 and a green. Kicker of 3, so you can play it for 2 or for 5. It's a 2/2 if you just play it for 2. It either way has Vigilance and Trample.
Sweet.
And if it was kicked, it enters with 3 +1/+1 counters on it.
Jeez. Okay.
So it's a 2/2 for 2 or a 5/5 for 5.
Yeah.
And they each have Vigilance and Trample.
Yeah, that's great.
Thorn Lieutenant is 1 and a green for a 2/3 elf warrior. When it becomes the target of a spell or an ability an opponent controls, we make an elf warrior.
Nice.
And then for 6 mana, 5 and a green, Thorn Lieutenant gets +4/+4 until end of turn, so it becomes a 6/7. Season of Growth. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. And whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you control, draw a card.
Okay.
So more card draw, scrying is very important. Very good.
Are we getting to a point where we've got too many cards going now?
Almost. We have 34 out of 40.
Okay.
So
not so bad.
what is Destiny
We're doing
Spinner?
okay.
It makes our lands into elementals. X is the
Flaxen
number of
Intruder.
enchantments we control. Flaxen Intruder is a no.
But it has a bear.
It has 3 bears actually, because it's Goldilocks and the 3 bears. But it's 7 mana to make those bears.
Look
So
how cool the bear is.
look how cool the bear is. It's also mounted over here on the wall behind her. If you don't notice that, yeah.
Not as good.
Let's go to our black and our white though, shall we? Because our black is very good. We're gonna take the spawn. We're gonna take the Regisar. We're gonna take. Are we taking this guy? Sure. Interesting. Do we? Yeah, I mean, he's got flying and death touch, and he's 3 mana, so yeah, we'll take him.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, the Piper of the Swarm. I didn't even see that we had this.
Ooh, that's so good.
Why was I not paying attention to that? 1 and a black for 1/3 rats you control have menace. 1 and a black tap, create a rat. And 2 black tap, sack 3 rats, gain control of target creature. Card's incredible.
Yeah.
Plague Crafter is good. Graveyard Marshal. 3, exile a creature card from your graveyard. Create a tap 2/2. No, thank you.
That guy looks
That
like
seems
he's
fair.
having so much fun. Look at him. It's like he's dancing.
A little bit. Well, he's raising all these dudes from the dead. The Eternal
so
Taskmaster
happy
is
about
great,
it.
though. Yeah. Nightmare's Thirst is 1 black mana instant. You gain 1. Target creature gets -X, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn, so no.
Love that art.
Yeah, very cool art. Legion's Landing is a definite. A Johnny's Pride Mate is a definite. What does this do? Exile all cards from target player's graveyard. Hanged Executioner is a 1/1 flyer. When it enters, make a 1/1 spirit. And then you can tap 4, exile it, and exile a creature. That seems pretty good. Prison Realm is very good. Just exile something when it comes in.
Yeah.
It's just like the Conclave Tribunal, which we'll also put in. Obviously, we're going to make cuts.
Yeah.
Obviously. We'll put in the Archon, we'll put in the Aerosaur, and we'll put in the War Leader. I don't think we need Planar Cleansing. Destroy all non-land permanents for 3 white. It's a lot of white, which we're not very heavy in.
Yeah.
So
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. Our black, I think we're good on. We just have to cut 8 cards now, which is unfortunate.
Okay. Well,
What does our land base look like? 5 forests, 5 fumps. Fumps?
yeah.
5 fumps, everybody.
That's okay. before I called Sarkin Sharkin for a second. Like, I started to say shark. And then I was like, that is so wrong.
I think it was the alliteration. 5 forests, 5 swamps, not fumps, and 5 plains. We have another green and white source.
5 fumps.
We definitely have 5 fumps. We actually have 1 fump. This is a forest swamp right here.
Oh.
So it's actually not. It's not a forest swamp. This is a forest plains. This is not a forest swamp, although it makes the mana that a forest and a swamp would make. That's interesting, though. I feel like that's not worthy. I feel like we have a million green pips. I guess all of our white pips are right here. Like, we have like 2 here and a third. Okay, so they're kind of clumped up. What are we going to get rid of? Oh, God.
Can we, like, take these away and just look at what we've got here? And
We can do that.
oh, okay.
That at least helps us look at our curve. Look at our curve.
Oh, my God.
Our 2, 3, and 4s are pretty stacked. We have 19 creatures and 12 non-creatures. Now, of course, we're cutting 8 cards.
Right.
So, let's get rid of the Hanged Executioner, maybe. I think we can get... Unfortunately, I think we have to get rid of the Piper of the Swarm.
Really?
Well, because otherwise it costs, like, black mana to play it, but then it costs a bunch of black mana to make it work.
Oh.
Like, it doesn't make any rats when it first comes in. It's just a 1/3 creature. And then you need 1 and a black and tap it to make another rat.
Yeah.
And then that 1/1 rat has menace. Like, after a while it gets out of hand, but I don't know that we're going to have that kind of time.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Our green is what we have very early on, right? Like, these are our creature base in green. We do have an Ajani's Pride Mate at 2 and an Eternal Taskmaster at 2. The Stonecoil Serpent they list as 1, which is wrong, but that's fine. Like, Legion's Landing, if we draw it in our opening hand, we want to be able to play it immediately, because it's very good. And our top end is Tendershoot Dryad, Biogenic Ooze, Immortal Sun, and Ethereal Absolution, which feels very strong. But we're very slow.
Oh no.
Well, and compared to our last deck, that's a problem.
All right,
Like-
so let's look at our lower drop things and determine what are the slowest and take those out.
Of our lower drop stuff? I guess Embodiment of Agonies, because he cares about our stuff in our graveyard. So we would have to have had things die for him to be a worthwhile
Useful.
thing.
Yeah.
So we'll get rid of him. Rex Sage definitely stays. That's a very useful card for us. So the problem with Rotting Regisar, it's an amazing card because it's 3 mana 7/6. But at the beginning of our upkeeps, we have to discard a card. It's probably worth it because it's a 7/6 that we could play on turn 3.
Yeah.
But, yeah. The Plague Crafter is fine. Each player sacks a creature or planeswalker. I think that's good. We might have a situation where our opponent only has, like, 1 big thing on the field, and so we're able to get rid of it. They could, of course, have, like, a dinky 1/1 token that they've made with something else, and they sack that, but then worst comes to worst, we just play and sack this guy, right? Like, if we have other better things on our field. Unless you want to get rid of it.
Oh, so he counts as something you can discard.
Well, it says each player sacks a creature or planeswalker. So, but it's when he enters. So he's on the field. We are a player that would have to then sack a creature or a planeswalker, and each player who can't discards a card. But of course, we at minimum have him to sack. So we will never have to discard a card with him. But yeah.
Okay. Good.
The Arisar is good. The Archon is good. The War Leader is great. The Spawn is good. Beast Whisperer is good. Is it too slow, though? All of our creatures are our 1, 2, and 3 slots. This is our 4 slot. And it would let us draw cards, but we have to wait till turn 4.
Oh.
But if we draw a creature, then we've essentially drawn a creature and a card if it's late game, you know?
Yeah.
That's tough. I think we still can do it. Vivian is triple green, but she's very good. Veraska is great. Biogenic Ooze is very good. Tender Shoot is very good. Absolution's great. Immortal Sun's fine. What happens if we get rid of the Immortal Sun? Nothing, because it's an artifact, but it's way on our top end. If our games go long, we can put it back in, because it's a very good card. Yeah, Season of Growth kind of does a similar thing to Beast Whisperer. Not exactly, but it says whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you scry 1. So we're not really drawing a card, but we're catering our draws with scrying.
Well, and it also says when you cast a spell that targets a creature you control, draw a card.
Right, I don't know that we have a ton of those.
Oh.
We'd have to cast a spell that targets a creature we control. I don't see any of those. Yeah, I don't see any of those.
Okay.
Because we didn't put in, like, Giant Growth. Right,
so maybe between Beast Whisperer and Season of Growth, we take out Season of Growth.
No, we take out Beast Whisperer. Because, again, the second ability doesn't do anything, but the first one does. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under our control, we scry 1. That's whenever a creature enters. Beast Whisperer is whenever we cast a creature spell.
What's the difference?
So, casting it means tapping mana, playing it from our hand. Entering the battlefield means when the Tender Shoot Dryad makes a Saproling, that Saproling will enter the battlefield under our control, and we will scry 1.
Oh. Okay.
Whenever the Biogenic Ooze makes an ooze,
okay.
we will not have cast an ooze, but we will have that ooze enter the battlefield under our control.
Gotcha. Okay.
This Ethereal Absolution, when we exile something and make a 1/1 spirit, not casting, but making a spirit entering the battlefield.
That card's really good, but it also costs 6.
Yes. And then, but all of our creatures then get buffed, and all of their creatures get shrunk.
I'm just saying, it might not even come up. It might, like, we might not even get that far.
Fair enough. All right, so if we take those 2 out, we still need 2 more cuts.
But if you think we're kind of slow, then maybe we will get that far.
Maybe. We'll see. And that's why I said Immortal Sun can come back in, Ethereal Absolution can come back in. I took out Vivian's Arcbow because it doesn't really do much, and we have to discard cards to make it work.
No.
Let's see. We need 1 more cut, and it looks like it should be from our 4-drop slot. I just don't want it to be, I guess. What happens... Maybe I'm crazy. What happens if we take out Veraska, Despark, Taskmaster, Plaguecrafter, Regisar, and Spawn, and the Woodland Cemetery? We need 5 more cards now. We took out what? We took out...
Vivian's Archbow or Arcbow or whatever.
We did. We took out the Immortal Sun.
Immortal Sun.
We took out...
Ethereal.
Yeah, but that has black in it, so we can't put that back in.
Oh.
I don't know if this is right yet, but we're trying to figure this out. Vivian's Arcbow, which would be... Oh, sorry, we took out the Beast Whisperer. So we could do that. This does not feel like a strong deck at all. It's unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. We do have activated ability here. A mana activated ability. That's only 1. 2. 3 if we get the land. And that's it. Doesn't feel like a Wilderness Reclamation type of a deck. Oh, man.
This is tough.
It's very tough. This is rough.
I feel like I can weigh in on this.
Oh, we took out the Hanged Executioner as well, because it was a removal spell.
I don't know. I kind of feel like a lot of these black cards are better than a lot of the green cards that we kept.
Okay. All right,
But,
so...
you know, that's based on how I feel about it.
That's
so
fair. It's
take
important.
That with a grain of salt.
No, why? I mean, this is our deck that we're playing together. There's no stakes here, right? Let's try to work this out. So, take out this Thorn Lieutenant. I don't love it. All right. So maybe we stop. What do we put in the sun? Jade Light Ranger is good. Sage is good. Okay. So we need 5 more cards, but one of them is a land, so they'll probably help swap that for us once we put it back in. Yes, good. So Vraska comes back. Those 2 come back. We need 2 more cards. Okay. And you said you liked some of this black, so let's put Regisar back.
The Manticore thing? Spawn of Mayhem.
Spawn of Mayhem. This guy.
Yeah.
That's 40. Are we happy with that?
Or the Eternal...
Oh, the Taskmaster.
Yeah.
He's very good. We would have to tap 3 on attacks to return something from our graveyard to our hand.
Oh, okay.
So this may be 40. Now, what I'll say is we have 3 losses before we're done. So after we've played 1 game, win or lose, we can reassess.
Yeah,
if we
definitely.
Yeah. So let's give that a try. Sorry, still very important question. What do we want our deck art to be?
Oh, is it that important?
Of course it is.
Oh, well, the ooze.
The ooze?
Definitely.
You got it. All right, let's do one game with this. Your flubber. Let's do 1 game with this. See how it feels. See if we need to reassess anything. And then either way, we'll probably end the video after this. But we're playing against Retak or Ritak. Ritak, maybe? Sure. Okay, we have all 3 of our colors. That's something. We have D-Spark for 2, Heraldic Banner for 3, Spawn of Mayhem for 4, and Biogenic Ooze for 5.
I don't love that, but I do love that we have all 3 colors
Correct.
going on with our lands.
Yeah.
So I think this is a keeper.
Good. Keep. They mulliganed at least once. This is a cool...
Yeah, it's kind of...
Field.
It's kind of like the other one, except this is like a damaged one of it.
Yeah.
You know, where it looks like the shell, but it's like all new looking and pretty.
Oh, yeah.
And this is like the
weathered
upkeep.
version?
Yeah, the upkeep has not been a thing.
Yeah.
And it looks like there's a lot of overgrown vines on the edges.
Yeah. We have an Ajani's Pride Maiden. That's nice.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to use this for green? For the ooze? Unfortunately, we won't be able to play this unless we draw something else that makes black. They look at the top X cards of their library, where X is their devotion to blue, so they look at 2 cards. Put one of them in on top of their library and the rest on the bottom in a random order. And then if X is greater than or equal to the number of cards in their library, they win the game, but of course, that is not the case.
Do you think those shells are supposed to be like horns or like ears?
Oh. Horns. I would say these other jutty out fins are the ears.
Oh, okay.
Let's do Heraldic Banner for green? For white? No, definitely not white. It's either green or black. I guess by playing this and making it black, we get the spawn, but we can... But I think we should do green. What do you think? So this will be our 4th mana producing thing.
Okay.
I think it's got to be green because it buffs the ooze when we eventually get to play it. It's just that this spawn's going to sit in our hand for a while, which kind of sucks. No attacks, not necessary. They'll just block with their 1/3, and we have nothing to follow it up with. We need any land at all. We play our ooze next turn. Any land at all.
Okay.
And then the ooze is a 3/3 and the ooze, or a 3/2, and all the oozes that it makes are 3/2s as well.
Cool.
And at the beginning of our end step, we put a +1/+1 counter. Oh, we drew the green.
Nice.
All right. Well, that feels a little bad.
Yeah.
Because we made the Heraldic Banner that as well, but that's fine.
Oh, and that can't be changed.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. But it does buff all of our creatures as well.
Sweet.
So what is this? When it attacks, we make 2 1/1s. 1/1 cat creature tokens with lifelink that are tapped and attacking. Damn, that's a tough choice. I'll still do the ooze. Yep. It's fine. They're going to counter it. can counter it here because the Heraldic Banner presents buffs for every ooze that this thing can make.
Yeah.
And actually, the nice thing about drawing the forest is now we have the triple green with the banner to make oozes. What?
They didn't.
Yeah, which is great. And now we get an ooze. They might have just been reading it. If they don't know what it does, you know, if they're not familiar. They're still thinking. No attacks, not this turn. And then we put a counter on both of our oozes.
Or maybe they were thinking of how they wish they had a counter spell for these oozes.
Now, if they play anything next turn, don't forget we can still exile things.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, they're doing something. Uh-oh. What are you doing? I'm very confused. Okay. We get +1/+1 counters on each of our oozes. This is gross. In a great way. This card's great.
Yeah.
I see why you like it so much.
No, you don't. I like it because it's my flubber.
Yeah, because it's adorable. Alright, so Dungeon Geist is a 3/3 flying. Tap target creature and opponent controls. It doesn't untap during our untap step for as long as they control Dungeon Geist, and then they concede.
Oh.
Wow.
20.
Yeah, there was no reason for that. Again, they were taking a long time for their turns.
Yeah, maybe something was going on.
Yeah, maybe. All right, let's play one more game because we really did not get to assess our deck there at all.
No.
I mean, it worked out nicely for us, thankfully,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we didn't really get to assess much. We'll try again. I said either way we were going to end the video, so thanks, opponent, for making me a liar. That's fine.
They're a terrible person because they conceded to us.
Clearly. Kvetchnik 87. Okay. We have all three colors again.
Yay.
We have the Heraldic Banner, the Archon of Sun's Grace, the Conclave Tribunal, and a Tendershoot Dryad. My god. Okay. That's
What a
a
keeper.
very keepable hand. It looks like we... I guess it depends on what we get later on. Let's do this. But this so far should be white. When we play it. Ooh, they're going to have a 1/1 lifelink for a while. Yeah, definitely
boy.
white. Definitely white.
We don't have anything.
No. This will be played next.
Okay.
And it'll be our white, which is great. We take one, they gain one. Search for his content is very good for them. Ooh, a Traveler's Amulet. Okay. Well, we can play this, then this, make white, and then play the Traveler's Amulet with it. Cool. Okay. So, what Search for Escanta does is at the beginning of their upkeep, they look at the top card of their library. They may put it into their graveyard. Then, if they have 7 or more cards in their graveyard, they transform it into the land as Kanta the Sunken Ruin. History of Benalia gives them a knight. There's a lot going on. Okay, we drew a Rotting Regisar, but we also have 5 mana for our Tendershoot Dryad.
Yay!
And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on our turn. So yeah, on our turn we will have the City's Blessing.
Good.
If this lives.
Alright, maybe we're moving for 2 so far, even though a lot of things were happening.
Correct.
We still are at 18.
Correct.
So I'm happy with this.
Yeah. Yeah,
Not,
absolutely.
Like, super salty about the fact that we didn't have any blue drops there.
Yeah. And I'm okay with, if they attack with the Alseid, I'm okay with blocking with this Saproling. Even though it could be a 3/3, yeah, they're only attacking for 2. That's totally fine. It will happen, and I will not block. No, thank you. I like this card. So I'd rather not have it just die for no reason. We make another Saproling. And then we drew a Prison Realm.
Oh.
Exile target creature or planeswalker until this leaves the battlefield, so that's not really necessary right now. We have Conclave Tribunal as well, but I think we just play the Archon here. We have 2 enchantments in our hand, by the way, for this.
Ooh.
So yeah, we play the Archon.
Damn right we do.
And then we'll still have 1 left over for the Traveler's Amulet, which we would use to go get a Plains, I guess? We technically have 2 of everything, but now we have the City's Blessing, so we have 3/3 Saprolings now. I guess we go to combat and attack for 3 and see what they do. They could double block. They don't. That makes sense. They did gain 2 life, so they're only going to 19 after taking 3 there, but that's fine. Okay. Now we have the City's Blessing permanently, so even if we go below 10, it doesn't matter.
Nice.
And I only mentioned that because I was, we're going to sack the Traveler's Amulet, but of course we're getting Saprolings in the process, so.
Right.
Anyway, as Kanta the Sunken Ruin, by the way, can tap to add a blue, but for 2 and a blue, tap it. They can look at the top 4 cards of their library, reveal a non-creature, non-land from among them, and put it into their hand, and the rest on the bottom of their library in a random order. Which is pretty good.
Yes.
They have 2 4/3s, but it's only until end of turn. I don't think I have a problem if we pass to blockers and block with these Saprolings that are going to be made like a million times over. They probably have something, but that's just fine. We didn't pay anything for these Saprolings. We got them for free at the beginning of upkeeps. So it looks like they may sack the Alseid to give one of them pro-green. Sure. That's fine. The other one dies. But now, for the remainder of these turns, they will have 1 2/2 creature left. And that's it. We have a 4/4, a 2/2, and a 3/3, and we're going to make 3/3s every turn. So here's another 3/3. Yup. Here is a forest. Okay. I didn't sack the Traveler's Amulet, but that's fine. Let's play nothing. I guess we just attack here and see what they do. They still have a lot of mana. Well, they have a lot of mana up, which is a little concerning.
Yeah.
But we do have...
It really just kind of seems like it's because they don't really have anything to play.
It does seem that way. I will agree with you. Yeah, we gain 4. Yeah, we're back at 20. This feels so weird. I guess we just end our turn. Like, we're not being pressured. We're pressuring them. It feels bad not playing anything, but we're in a great position
they aren't
here.
either.
Yeah, exactly.
They've
And they're
got
losing.
the mana for it.
Okay. So Thassa's Intervention, they look at the top X cards of their library, put up to 2 of them into their hand and the rest on the bottom in a random order. What are they digging for? Like, Search for Azcanta does that too, but like, I just don't know what they're digging for over and over again.
Maybe they kind of have like 1 star of their deck, and everything else kind of revolves around that.
Either that or they've gotten...
Why would you do that in a cube?
Well, I was going to say, either that or they've gotten horribly unlucky and drawn none of their big bomby cards, and so they're looking for those. It's just weird.
If they have little things that can go wide with
There it is. There it is. And they can discard a card to give it hexproof. There's nothing I can do about that, unfortunately. That's bad.
Okay.
That's very, very bad. But they're at a low enough life total where it might not matter.
Well, we have our Rotting Register. It's like 7 power, right?
Sure, but then we have to start discarding cards. I guess let's use the Traveler's Amulet now. We'll get a second white source.
Oh, but
or
that
a
thing's
third white
flying,
source.
so it probably can't do anything against it, right?
Right. Well,
It
I mean...
can block it, or no?
Yeah, of course, yeah. It can block if it wants to. We can't block this with the... Oh, great. We can't block this with the Regisar, if that's what you're asking.
Right, okay.
But we have this flyer. Okay, so they have 4 cards in their hand. This is a flying lifelink 3/5. Whenever they draw a card, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Whenever it attacks, they draw a card. And then they discard a card to give it hexproof until end of turn and tap it. Do we have to do this? When it enters, we scry 1. We'll get a Pegasus. So yeah, maybe we try the Prison Realm on it and make them use a resource to get rid of it. Okay, so we'll target their Dream Trawler. Constellation trigger goes off. They're gonna discard a card to give it hexproof and tap it. That's fine. So we can't target it anymore, but the Prison Realm is still on the field, and we have an Ethereal Absolution on top.
Nice.
That feels very nice. Okay, but now their creature is tapped, and they can see.
Wow.
Yep. Well, because we were attacking them for 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 this turn, and they're at 12. They could have blocked one of it, but they're not winning that race. They're just not. Okay, I mean, I really did not have as much faith in this deck as I did in the last one, and we're following the same trend, at least so far at the beginning. But as I said, this has been a very long video, so hopefully you all hung out and stuck it through with us to this point. Please let us know your thoughts on the deck in the comments down below, especially with our deck building. When we were deciding what to cut, what to put in, did we ignore black too much? Did we ignore red too much?
Or green.
Right.
Or one of the other colors even.
Right. So let us know
just discount them way too easily.
Right. Or should we only be a 2-color deck? Is one of these 3 colors unnecessary? Yeah. Let us know any of those thoughts. We would love to hear from you in the comments down below. I don't purport to be an expert deck builder, and I love learning new things from viewers online. That's one of the reasons why we do this. So yeah, please let us know any thoughts. Obviously, the deck worked for the first 2 wins, but I don't know. Our first opponent definitely conceded way too quickly, and this opponent here was, I don't know what they were digging for, but I did not love their deck.
They just were screwed in some way.
Yeah,
Not
clearly.
mana screwed. They were something screwed.
And Dream Trawler is an incredible card, but when it's all that they have, and we're Tendershoot Dryading multiple 3/3 Saprolings,
right.
every turn cycle, it's very scary. So
yeah.
As I said, that is going to be the end from us here at the Geek for All family of channels. I have been Joe.
And I'm Amy.
Please feel free to do all the fun YouTube stuff. It helps us out immensely. Liking, commenting, subscribing, ringing bells to get notifications, anything and everything. And again, during this time of social distancing, we hope that you are all staying safe and happy and healthy, as we are.
Yes.
And we hope that you're able to social distance, but regardless, be safe out there. Pass along the same to your families from us as well. We're thinking about every single one of you, whether you watch us religiously or not. It does not matter. We're all in this together, as it says. So, but as we always say, in whichever video of ours you watch next, we will see you all next time. Thanks, everybody.